how do I grow the number of users اوكي بتاع كل البرودكتس. ازاي مثلا مع وزارة التعليم ندخل الديجيتال سكيلز في المناهج. and I use this term مع ناس كتير بقول لهم I don't live to work, I work to live.
ازيكم يا جماعة. Welcome to the third episode of the Nobody Asked podcast. السبب ان انا بدأت البودكاست دي هي ان انا help inspire and motivate people. والنهارده معانا a very very special guest. He is the country director at Google. He is Hisham El Nazer.
اهلا وسهلا يا خالد. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. ايه الأخبار؟
كله تمام الحمد لله.
دلوقتي يا هشام, I know ان انت دلوقتي you're the country director at Google. You graduated from the American University in Cairo 1996. Can you please walk me through how you got into your career يعني starting from the very beginning? Yeah.
أكيد. خليني أبدأ أول لما اتخرجت من الجامعة. actually ممكن أخد خطوة لورا وأقول لك قبل ما أتخرج. كنت دايما متخيل إن أنا هبقى بانكر. بابايا كان بانكر وكنت دايما يعني ماشي في السكة دي متخيل إن this is where I'm gonna end up. وعملت internships في كذا حتة مختلفة وأنا في الجامعة. I did banking مرة, I did marketing مرة تانية, I did something else مرة تالتة. وبعدين اكتشفت إن I didn't want to do banking. واكتشفت برضو إن أنا I got my energy from working more with people. So in marketing is something that really excited me. فأول لما اتخرجت جالي opportunity مع the Gillette company اللي هي Procter & Gamble دلوقتي in marketing. ودخلت قعدت هناك 5 سنين تعلمت the fundamentals of marketing. وبعدين جالي opportunity في شركة مارس. I took it برضو in marketing. دخلت كنت هنا في مصر. I started off in marketing معاهم when they first started. I was part of the founding team. It was kind of like a startup. It was very exciting for me. وبعدين عملت different types of roles from marketing. دخلت sales, دخلت strategy. وبعدين I had the opportunity to become a general manager for the first time at Mars. كنت ماسك مصر. I shifted my career into general management. I was the GM of Egypt. بعد كده I relocated to Dubai. I was the GM of the UAE. And then I expanded my role further and became the GM of the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa for half the business at Mars. And it was an incredibly exciting journey for me. So I was a consumer goods guy for 20 سنة. وبعدين جت فترة قلت تمام أنا محتاج أفكر what do I want to do next in my career. If I continue بقى I'm going to be in consumer goods for the rest of my life, or if I'm going to make a change, I make it now. وكانت جت فترة بقى consumer goods كانوا 20 سنة يعني very very exciting فيها growth كبير جدا. It was the place to be, if you will. And then things started slowing down because consumer goods as an industry was maturing. And then at the same time, there was this industry called tech that was taking off like a rocket. فأنا قلت you know like I would love to get into tech. And at the time أنا ما كانش عندي أي فكرة أنا ممكن أعمل إيه في tech. Is my skill set transferable ولا لأ؟ I started researching tech. And in fact I decided to take a year off. يعني ما بين Mars and Google. ليه؟ عشان كنت عارف إن أنا لو يعني بشتغل في Mars أنا I give it 100% في اللي أنا بعمله. مش هيكون عندي الوقت الكافي اللي أنا محتاجه إن أنا أفكر مظبوط فأنا عايز أعمل إيه في المرحلة الجاية من الكارير بتاعي.
You wanted to concentrate على research that you were...
Exactly. And in that time I researched big tech companies, not just Google but many others. I also considered إن أنا أخش في startup. بس I knew that I wanted to get into tech. وبعدين لقيت إن في دنيا قدامي واسعة قوي. And I started بقى having serious interviews مع startups مختلفة مع big tech كتير in London, in Dubai, in other parts of the world as well. And I was about to join another big tech company in London right before I joined Google. But Google was at the very top of my list. And then it came and I joined Google in Dubai.
Okay.
قعدت أول سنتين هناك managing كل ال central functions بتاعت Google for the region. وبعدين my boss at the time, you know, like asked me if I would be interested in coming back to Egypt to start up the operation for Google in Egypt. And that's not an opportunity you say no to.
Oh, أكيد.
فلا, it was very exciting because it was a startup assignment because it's starting it from scratch. And at the same time, you have the backing of one of the largest companies in the world. Yeah. So here I am today. It's been a very exciting journey that's been very rewarding, but incredibly challenging at the same time.
Okay. You said before you went to university, you wanted to become a banker. بعد university, did you ever imagine and you would be the managing director for Google مصر أو country director at Google Egypt يعني ولا؟
So the short answer is absolutely not.
Okay.
وممكن أقول لك إن أول لما اتخرجت I think I've never met anyone who really knew, you know, like what they wanted. I mean, I don't want to generalize, بس يعني
Most people.
it's صعب جدا إنك تكون عارف أنا عايز أعمل ده. في ناس كده بس الأقلية. لأن you're still developing as a person ولازم تجرب حاجات. ساعات بتبقى فاكر إنك عايز تعمل ده وبعدين تجربه وتلاقي إن maybe this is not for me. No, I would never have thought إن أنا هكون بعمل كده دلوقتي. بس as I started my career يعني مثلا I got into marketing. I thought that yeah I love this. بس as I started becoming part of a broader business اكتشفت إن that I would actually love to do a general management role.
Okay.
فدخلت في السكة دي ولقيت إن أنا I loved it. وبعد كده I'm still doing general management بس I shifted from one industry to a completely different one. And I have no doubt that this is likely to happen again going forward because things change and as your career evolves, you also develop and your thinking changes and
You evolve with it, yeah.
you evolve with it and you reassess and you know like seize the opportunities that are presented to you at the time.
Okay. Why Google? Of all the big tech companies, why did you?
That's a good question. So I interviewed with most of them before I joined Google. And like I said, Google kept يعني at the top of my list because I really believe in the values of the company and what they're doing. يعني اللي هو the mission of Google is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful to everybody. يعني اللي هو حاجة فعلا بنحاول ندي لكل حد في العالم the power of technology and the internet. And that's a very inspiring vision. That was part of it. The second part was the culture. I don't know if you've read or heard about the culture at Google, but it really is very special. يعني
Offices برضو that
the
comes down to
offices
the
are
culture.
super cool. طبعا بس غير كده الناس, the people that they hire are from very diverse backgrounds بس almost everyone has a very special story.
Okay.
يعني عملوا حاجة في حياتهم قبل كده that makes them a very good fit يعني for the culture at Google. And I've met some of the most interesting people in my life at Google over the past 6 years. Yeah.
Would you say in you working at different cities, countries around the world, and specifically in the region, has helped get you to where you are now?
أكيد. بص, I think يعني دي حاجة بقولها لناس كتير. Moving outside of your comfort zone is the only way to really develop and grow. يعني if it's moving countries, that's one thing. لأن أنت ممكن تكون متعود على بلد واحدة والنظام هنا. بتروح بلد تانية بتلاقي فيه حاجات مختلفة ما عملتهاش قبل كده. Different dynamics, different ways of working. It could be a different country, it could be a different function, it could be different responsibilities. I think بشجع كل الناس if they get an opportunity to try something different in another country, it's only gonna help grow your skill set.
What country would you say has the best provides the best market in your opinion يعني? What market interests you the most in the region يعني?
But I wouldn't position it as what is the best country because I don't think there is a best country. It really depends on the person and what they're looking for. For example, most of my experience has been in emerging markets as opposed to developed markets like the US, the UK, Europe, for example. There, in developed markets, مثلا, you will probably do a very small role, but you'll go very deep into it and you probably manage a very large amount of revenue. For example, if you're in the type of business that I'm in. In emerging markets, you have very broad roles. The numbers are a bit smaller, but it's much more exciting to me. So that's something that I look for. What's going to excite me at work. من البلاد اللي أنا رحتها يعني where has been most exciting or fulfilling for me كل واحدة فيهم يعني gave me something different. يعني مصر بلد يعني كبيرة جدا عشان البوبوليشن رهيب. اللي أنا اتعلمته هنا حاجة مختلفة خالص عن مثلا when I was in Dubai.
Okay.
Dubai, like it was looking more at a region, so multiple markets, each of them very different. It's much more competitive. There is Saudi, مثلا, again, is probably the largest market in the region that we operate in. Very exciting to work there as well, and different challenges. I also spent a year in Istanbul.
Okay.
مثلا, that was also a very interesting market for me, similar to Egypt. So I was able to transfer, like some of what I had learned from Egypt, like there, and it was also very exciting. So look, I can't say there's a best. There may be a best for me right now, but that will keep changing.
Okay. That brings me on to my next point. دلوقتي, as the country director, you told me in that entails 3 like major responsibilities that you go through. Can you give me more detail عنهم?
So I am the country director for Google in Egypt. So I am the main point of contact or the representative for Google في مصر. And we have multiple businesses. So our largest business هي digital ads.
Okay.
And that's the core that I look after. But we also have other businesses such as Google Cloud, زي Google Play Store, Android. The operating system is also owned by Google, among other things. This is one part of what I do. I also am the lead for startups and venture capital firms across Middle East, North Africa. ده معناه إيه؟ ده معناه إن أنا I work with all of the startups that we sell our digital ads products to and cloud products to, and I own the relationships مع venture capital firms دي.
Okay.
وعندي another hat that I wear اللي هي geographic expansion, اللي هو إزاي ممكن نخش بلاد جديدة, new markets across the region where we don't have a physical presence. يعني مثلا recently we expanded into Morocco, Iraq, and there could be others in the future as well.
Okay.
So those are the 3 hats that I wear in my current job.
Yes. Would you say working at Google has exposed you, أو يعني بلاش Google, يعني عامة working in multinationals has exposed you to learning different skills يعني that you could use يعني in your job دلوقتي تعلمتها في مارس وكده؟
أكيد. بص أنا اتعلمت كتير من المالتيناشنالز. I have to say I don't think it's for everybody.
Okay.
And it depends on what you want to do. يعني for example ممكن تبقى a very successful entrepreneur. يعني بعيد خالص عن ال corporate life ده. بس multinationals have given me a number of things. أول حاجة I would say is structure and process. ازاي to manage a business in a very structured way. ودي ممكن تساعدك even if you decide to start up your own business one day. حاجة تانية is strategy development. ازاي تعمل خطة أو strategy لأي business أنت بتعمله. What are the key dimensions or angles of a business مفروض تبص عليها. And this is applicable مش بس في industry واحدة. يعني ممكن اللي أنت بتتعلمه ده you apply it to any kind of business
Any industry,
that you're doing. And the third one, which I think is probably the most important one, is people management. And I see a lot of smaller businesses struggle with that. What you learn at multinationals is how to attract the best talent, how to reward them, develop them, and retain them.
Okay.
وده برضو يعني is in today's world one of the most important skills that you would need to manage any business.
Okay. So أكيد given your job you've seen a lot of startups. What makes a good startup? I mean, what do you look for when investing into a startup?
So I've seen a lot
Okay.
of startups. هقول لك what I look for. أول حاجة is are they solving for a real world problem؟ هل الفكرة اللي هم طلعوا بيها دي بتحل مشكلة موجودة عند ناس كتيرة ولا لأ؟ وهل اتعملت قبل كده ولا لأ؟ So has it been done before?
Yeah.
Okay, if it hasn't, if it's a new idea, that makes it very exciting. دي أول حاجة. تاني حاجة ودي برضو مهمة قوي، مين الفاوندرز؟ وانا مش قصدي اللي هم مين، انا قصدي هل هم hungry okay to grow okay هل هم committed للستارت اب ده؟ لان ساعات بلاقي ناس كتير عندهم شغلانه تانية وبيعملوا الستارت اب دي على جنب.
Would you want them إن هو يبقوا 100% focused على
100%
يعني يسيبوا their job و
100%
committing to
هي مش يعني مش هتشتغل غير كده، لان it's a lot of hard work. ولو انت فعلا عايز تنجح لازم تبقى 100% focused على ده. It's gonna take up all of your time especially في الأول.
You were just telling me حتى about the 10,000 hour rule.
Yes.
To perfect something you need to do it for 10,000 hours.
That's true. There's this book by Malcolm Gladwell, اسمه Outliers, and there are many different things about those special people that have reached, you know, like a certain level of success in their careers and lives. And one of them, and there are many dimensions, by the way, but that one is the 10,000 hour rule. You know, people that are very dedicated, that put in عدد الساعات دي في أي مجال is really something that will get you to that level of competency. بص هي it's مش لازم تبقى rigid 10,000 hours، بس the message is اللي هو لو انت خدت حاجة جد and you put the time and effort into it هتوصل للي انت عايزه.
Okay. دلوقتي I wanted to ask عامة في 2019 the pandemic came في العالم كله وخلتنا كلنا نبقى بنتعامل بان احنا remotely يعني بنستعمل online lectures, online meetings, Zoom وكل الحاجات دي. ف would you say in the pandemic kind of forced us ان احنا ندepend more على التكنولوجي ولا؟
بص انا اقول لك انا تجربتي انا الشخصيه، انا عندي 3 عيال يعني لولا الهوم سكولينج ثرو تك ده كانت هتبقى مشكله كبيره مثلا. بص يعني I'm just sharing a personal experience.
Oh,
بس
personally
on a more broader level,
yes.
I think there's no doubt in التكنولوجي. بص كوفيد كانت فتره صعبه علينا كلنا في العالم
أكيد.
بس كانت فرصه ان هي تظهر قد ايه ممكن التكنولوجي والانترنت بالذات
يساعدونا
في حياتنا عامة. هوم سكولينج ده is just one. يعني ده في حاجات تانية كتير قوي. يعني أنا عايز أقول لك at Google and in tech in general يعني كان في طفرة رهيبة يعني في الفترة دي، مش بس because of video calls، بس e-commerce يعني took off like crazy and this is across the world. مش بس في مصر،
مش في الريجن ولا في مصر بس.
يعني وده انعكس على يعني الجروث بتاع الشركات دي، وده كمل بعد كوفيد. يعني اللي حصل ان الناس يعني اكتشفت ازاي ممكن يستخدموا التكنولوجي اكتر واكتر and this is something that has stayed يعني post COVID and it continues to grow.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about AI in general. ما فيش a specific question that I wanted to ask يعني، بس يعني أكيد industries كتير قوي can benefit from the use of AI. What do you think about that personally يعني what's your experience with it?
I think that goes without saying. What I will say is AI is probably the most profound change that we will experience in our lifetimes.
Okay.
يعني it's more significant than the internet. Okay. واحنا النهارده we're only scratching the surface of the capabilities بتاعت ال AI، واللي هيحصل في الكام سنة اللي جايين دول هيكون في يعني طفرة يعني جامدة جدا في ال use cases of AI. AI can be applied لindustries كتير قوي مختلفة، واحنا لسه يعني بنقول يا هادي if you will، وهيبان. يعني ممكن اديك examples من اول law firms to healthcare to sustainability of the environment to coding. يعني the list goes on and on. والشركات اللي هتنجح are the ones who are able to understand how can
It'd be
they
utilized. Yeah.
adopt and utilize AI to benefit their businesses and
Okay.
their industries.
And grow it يعني عامة.
And grow it for sure.
Okay. What skills and characteristics would you usually look for when hiring someone to work, whichever, Google أو أي حاجة at Mars before يعني? What characteristics makes someone stand out بالنسبة لك؟
I'll tell you what we look for at Google.
مش لازم Google. What you would look for عامة. Maybe at Google now بس يعني in general what skills عامة would you be looking for?
أول حاجة أقولها, which is a myth a lot of people usually have in mind, is the smartest people functionally, like the ones with the 4.0 GPA هم دول اللي يعني أحسن ناس اللي هيتعينوا and will succeed. I think that's far from the truth. What I look for is someone who's more well-rounded,
Okay.
and the behavioral aspect counts for quite a lot. A lot of what makes you succeed in the business world has to do with your ability to deal and manage with people. So interpersonal skills. بتعرف تتعامل مع الناس ولا لا. I'm not saying إن الحتة الكوجنيتيف أو الاناليتيكال دي مش مهمة, هي مهمة جدا. بس هي لوحدها من غير ما يكون عندك الحتة التانية دي اللي هي let's call it emotional intelligence, will only take you so far in your career. What makes the difference between good and great is not the functional capability, but more the interpersonal capability.
Okay.
So that's one of the things, like I look for. The second is then the cognitive piece. يعني depending طبعا on the type of business that you're managing, حتة like is this candidate يعني عنده المقدرة إن هو يتعامل وينجح في the type of problems that will come their way. That's the second one. وثالث حاجة leadership capabilities.
Okay.
ودي برضو it's kind of like has to do with the interpersonal piece, but leadership capabilities, meaning يعني are you able to inspire others, work with others, to influence, like
Put them
how
in the
they
right
behave
direction يعني.
بالظبط, and to get to like a vision or a north star that you set for yourselves. And the last point I think is also very important, but a lot of people overlook, هي cultural fit.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is
The office culture يعني عامة.
في الاورجنايزيشن اللي انت فيها.
Okay.
يعني بيبقى عندك values و principles. This is the way we do business. This is the way we act. Is this person a good fit for our culture ولا لا? Yeah, let me give you an example from Google.
Okay.
One of the things we look for, we call it googliness.
Googliness.
Googliness, yes. And what that means is, there's no like formal definition for it, but what it means is, هل الشخص ده هيعمل الصح في المواقف الصعبة ولا لا? Is he gonna do the right thing?
Okay.
Are they gonna go out of their way to help people for no reason?
Okay.
Like this is the kind of behavior that we work for, because a lot of what delivers the success is about teamwork, with collaboration, with the ability to work well with others.
ناس كتير قوي دلوقتي بالذات ال young generation كلهم kind of in a rush اللي هو it's a get rich scheme يعني. ف what would you say to that يعني? Do you think in a patience is good ولا is it good إنك تبقى kind of يعني quick on your feet in a rush?
Look, I love that question. I get asked it كتير. I think one of the most important skills, I wouldn't really call it a skill, but a value, like, or a principle is...
حاجة googliness.
it's not the googliness type of point, but I think patience is very important, and I'm not surprised إنك بتسأل السؤال ده وأنا بشتغل مع ناس كتير at different stages of their careers, and the younger generation are very impatient. وبقول لهم كلهم ان building a career is not a sprint, it's a marathon. يعني لازم يكون عندك صبر. مفيش shortcuts. يعني لو كان فيه كان كل حد خد
وصل.
بالظبط. وبعدين لو خدت شورت كات صغير وكسبت حاجة، لو بصيت over a longer period of time هتلاقي ان the person that was patient and had النفس and put in the hard work and time and was smart about, like taking advantage of opportunities that are presented to them at the right time are the ones that go farther in their careers.
Okay.
So that's very, very important. And there are other things that I would say are equally as important
زي ايه مثلا؟
as well. زي واحد being prepared.
Okay.
And what I mean by being prepared is انت النهارده شغال في industry معينة. You're an entrepreneur or in the corporate world in a specific industry. انت ممكن تكون شغال فيها لمدة كذا سنة. بس ممكن يحصل حاجة وتضطر ان انت تغير. بدل ما تستنى لحد ما تتحط في موقف معين وتقول okay then I need to change or look for something different. تكون بتفكر من قبليها أنا السكيل سيت بتاعي and what makes me excited at work are these things. أفكر إن أنا لو مش في المجال ده في plan B.
تبقى 2 steps ahead يعني.
If you can. And it's very good to be thinking, having a plan B and in fact having a plan C as well.
Okay.
So being prepared. The other thing, or that's also part of being prepared, that's more the thinking ahead side of being prepared. There's another angle to it, which is always being on top of your work, meaning ان انت تكون اكتر واحد عارف عن الشغل اللي انت بتعمله. Okay, you need to be the expert in what you're doing.
Be the best at it. Yeah.
Be the best, and being the best comes through hard work and dedication, and always being on top of what you're doing and not being caught off guard. So those are the things that I would say are very important.
What would you say is more important, talent or hard work?
I think hard work beats talent any day.
Okay.
And that's not just in business. I mean, look at sports. Like I can give you so many examples of professional athletes, and there are stories that many people are familiar with. The simplest is Messi, for example, who had a growth impediment, but the amount of work and dedication that he put into it, look at where he is today.
Yeah.
And there are many other examples in many different disciplines, not just sports or business.
If you had to start again تاني من الأول, what are 3 things أو يعني a couple of things that you would do to help get yourself يعني to a better position on people that would be in competition for whatever you're in يعني.
أول حاجة, I would never look at it versus other people. Okay, I think this is a mistake that a lot of people make. It's not a race. Like once you get into that mindset, I know it's easier said than done, and it's kind of human nature. But really, the people that I've seen succeed in the business world are the ones that have always been looking at themselves and are they growing or not? Not am I ahead of person X or person Y. As long as you're developing, وده برضو جزء من النفس والpatience اللي أنا بتكلم عليه. It comes with time. بس اللي بيحصل حواليك ده is noise. Again, easier said than done. But it's very important to, as long as one, you're excited about what you're doing.
Passionate about it.
Passionate, and that's a key word. It comes from here, not only from your mind. That is يعني من أهم الحاجات. وبعدين putting in the hard work and effort, and it comes with time. Now, في situations برضو when things may not be going so well, and it's also important to realize when is it time to reassess and cut your losses. Sometimes يعني لو في حاجة, لو أنت مش مبسوط والدنيا مش ماشية معاك, maybe this is not for you. But realizing this today as opposed to 2 years later is probably a better thing.
Who did you used to look up to when you were a kid? يعني throughout life, يعني when you were a kid, were at uni, after uni, who was your inspiration, role model يعني?
So I think I've had more than one. ما اقدرش اقول ان كان في شخص واحد بس هو اللي كان الانسبيريشن بتاعي يعني.
Okay.
خليني ابدا لما when I was a teenager مثلا انا كنت بلعب رياضه بشكل جد جدا. كنت
اوكي.
في منتخب مصر في الباسكت مثلا، وكنت بلعب
اوكي.
العاب قوه. انا مثلا مايكل جوردن كان بالنسبه لي طبعا يعني مش حد عارفه يعني شخصيا، بس
اه.
يعني الورك اثيك والديديكيشن بتاعه كان حد بالنسبه لي that was very inspiring. ده مثلا واحد.
اكيد.
كان عندي مدرسين في الجامعه مثلا يعني طلعوا يعني خلوني افكر بطريقه مختلفه. يعني فضلت معايا بقيت حياتي. وعندي ناس اشتغلت معاها في الكارير بتاعي، اتعلمت منهم حاجات يعني that I'm very grateful for. و I feel يعني ان انا I have an obligation to pay it forward لناس تانية and it's something that I love doing.
اللي هو to help the younger generation يعني عامة.
بالظبط.
اوكي.
and I do a lot of mentoring يعني it's something that I genuinely enjoy.
اوكي. Spread the message يعني get them to where they need to be and help get
بالظبط.
them. Can you walk me through a day in your life يعني a work life يعني؟
sure. عندك وقت قد ايه؟
كتير. As long as you want.
بص لا I'll give you الهاي ليفل يعني اديك فكره. اللي انا بعمله is quite broad يعني في بص يعني انا بقسمها 3 اجزاء غير the 3 different hats اللي انا كنت بقول لك عليهم في من شويه. خلينا نتكلم على my role as the country director بتاع مصر.
اوكي.
انا في جزء related للusers and what I mean by that اللي هو everyday people زي انا وانت والبرودكتس اللي بنستخدمها جوجل سيرش وجوجل مابس ويوتيوب مثلا. how do I grow the number of users اوكي بتاع كل البرودكتس دي، وازاي بنخلي ناس اكتر تخش على الانترنت اصلا. ده باكت. وان في باكت تاني اللي هو the business sales يعني اللي هو انا would focus on digital ads sales. بشتغل بقى مع customers كتير مختلفة in different industries من أول travel ل consumer goods ل retail ل telco ل real estate and there are multiple other industries that we work with and كل واحد فيهم has a completely different requirement or set of objectives بيحاولوا to achieve. وانا بشتغل معاهم through my team ازاي how can we help them achieve their overall business objectives and more specifically their marketing objectives.
اوكي.
بعدين في جزء ثالث and this is a very exciting piece. بشتغل كتير مع الحكومة، مع وزارات مختلفة من أول وزارة الاتصالات لوزارة السياحة وزارة التعليم. يعني مثلا وزارة الاتصالات من أول حاجة زي الانفراستراكشر اللي بيدخل الإنترنت البلد through subsea cables. إزاي مثلا مع وزارة التعليم ندخل الديجيتال سكيلز في المناهج المصرية. لوزارة السياحة ازاي ممكن ان احنا to promote Egypt to the rest of the world through digital ads.
It's very diverse يعني.
It is very diverse and that's what makes it very very exciting. وطبعا يعني it being technology and what is you know like shaping the future is what makes it much more exciting كمان.
Okay.
So that's very briefly you know like a day in the life of بس طبعا ممكن اتكلم عن الموضوع ده اكتر بكتير يعني لو عندنا وقت.
What do you do to outside of work to get your mind off work يعني separating it?
بص I believe in اللي هو having a balanced life is very important. أنا personally I like to work hard but I also like to play hard and I like to celebrate successes and I use this term مع ناس كتير بقول لهم I don't live to work I work to live. لأن ال personal aspect of الحياة دي احنا بنعمل كل ده ليه يعني.
Those are two very different things يعني the polar opposites يعني.
طبعا بس واحد لازم يكون مظبوط عشان تعرف تعمل التاني. لا يبقى ده اللي يعني واخد كل وقتك في الحياة ولا ده اللي واخد كل وقتك في الحياة. تدي كل حاجة حقها.
Finding a balance يعني.
Yeah, it's again easier said than done. وساعات بيجي أوقات لازم بيبقى في وقت أكتر في ده. وساعات برضو يعني لو الشغل مثلا في حاجة معينة بتحصل لازم it warrants الوقت الزيادة اللي that you have to put into it. وفي ساعات يعني the personal side does. بس family comes first. يعني دي حاجة أنا ممكن أقولها لأي حد. Actually يعني أنا رحت I was fortunate enough إن أنا أروح حتى اسمها the Center for Creative Development في كولورادو في أمريكا. This is like the Harvard of the personal development world. And there, you know, like I learned, it has nothing to do with business really. It's more about as a leader, what should, you know, like you focus on in life, what matters. وفي 4 pillars. And in this following order, أول حاجة is health.
Okay.
Followed by family. And family doesn't mean your direct family only, but family and friends. يعني the people, your loved
people
ones
around you,
you.
your loved ones.
Career. And then there's a 4th pillar, which is community. How can you give back؟ يعني دي مهمة وفي ناس كتير قوي ما بتفكرش في ده يعني في الأول. أنا ما كنتش بفكر في الحتة دي الصراحة في الأول بس as I developed and matured يعني بدأت أفكر في الحتة دي أكتر بكتير لأن أنا it's يعني it's a responsibility as well that I have and it's something that I enjoy doing and I intentionally focus on now as well.
Fresh graduate من AUC 1997 or 1996 يعني. Your younger self is sat in front of you. What would you say to him?
I would tell my younger self أول حاجة don't be afraid about what the future holds. لأن طبيعي في السن ده أنا كنت خايف كنتش عارف اللي أنا بعمله ده صح ولا غلط. I would tell myself don't worry about failing. Failing is part of developing. But if you fail fast and move on. وثالث حاجة, which is a very important one, is don't forget to have fun and enjoy the ride. You only live once.
It's a journey, يعني.
100%.
Don't focus on the goal, focus on the journey, يعني, that gets you there.
Yeah, and enjoy it.
Enjoy
work is important, but life is more important.
Perfect. Yeah. Very, very wise words. Thank you so much for doing this podcast with me.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much, Hisham. Thank you.